Hello and welcome to Intellify. My name is Archana Kumari Meena and today I am going to discuss NCERT solutions and extra questions of the chapter The Tale of Melon City. So let's begin with the solutions of questions from textbook. Question number 1. Narrate the tale of Melon City in your own words. Answer is the tale of Melon City runs like folk tale. Folk tale here meaning a tale that passed on traditionally, especially that considered to be false or based on superstition. The city is called Melon City because its ruler is Melon. There is a curious tale around it. Once a fair and gentle king ruled over a state. He got an ark built across the thoroughfare. Thoroughfare meaning a main road in a town. As he passed under the low arch, it struck his head and he lost his crown. The crown fell on the ground. He thought it is a disgrace or disrespect and ordered the chief of builders to be hanged. The chief lay the blame on the workman. Here the word lay meaning to put on something. The workmen were surprised. They said that the bricks were made of wrong size, so the masons were thought guilty. The mason shifted the blame on the architect. They were passing on the blames to one another, and no one was ready to accept their own fault. The architect put the blame at the king's door, as he had amended meaning make minor changes in order to make it fairer or more accurate, his original plan. The king sought a wise man's counsel for making the decision that who should be hanged. He held the ark guilty and ordered it to be hanged. A counselor objected meaning raising question, to it as it had touched the king's head. The people became restless. They wanted to see someone hanging. Only the king's head could fit the noose meaning a loop with a running knot, tightening as the rope or wire is pulled and used to trap animals or hang people. So he was hanged. It was now announced that the next man who passed the city gate would choose the king. An idiot came. He suggested a melon. So Melon was crowned the king. He was taken to the throne. He was called Melon King. Question number 2. What impression would you form of a state where the king was just and placid? Answer is the state where the king was just and placid just seems to be backward region full of ignorant fools and ruled by a whimsical king. Just and placid here refers to the qualities of the king. He was called just as he didn't deny anyone of justice no matter what and at whose expense. He was called placid, which means calm, as he tried to remain calm even in tough situations. Whimsical meaning a person that is playful and unpredictable rather than serious and practical. The king considers himself to be custodian of people and gets an ark erected for their spiritual upliftment. Here the word custodian meaning a person who has the responsibility for taking care of or protecting something. So here king considers himself to be the custodian of people and gets erected an ark. So erected meaning constructed. Spiritual here meaning relating to religion or religious belief. The king's word is a command and unwritten law. The whole process of changing judgment on the appeals of the victims appears as a mock trial. The ministers and counselors seems to be selfish. They advise the king to serve their own ends, though they appear to flatter the king and seem dedicated to the state. The common people are uneducated and ignorant fools. They need mental as well as spiritual upliftment. They are fun loving. In their quest for fun, they can cross all limits. Seems if deprived of fun, the unruly mob can rebel against the crown. Unruly meaning uncontrolled and mob meaning a large crowd of people that is disorderly and intent on causing troubles or violence. They do not bother whether the king is a man or melon. They want their personal freedom, free business and peaceful lives. Question number 3. Suggest a few instances in the poem which highlight humor and irony. Humor refers to cognitive experiences which provoke laughter in a person, and irony refers to the strange aspect of situation that is very different from what one expects. Answer is the tale of Melon City is full of instances of humor and irony. The just and placid king got an ark built to edify spectators. Edify meaning instruct or improve morally, and spectators here meaning viewers. The king's riding under low arc and losing his crown also creates humor. The way the accused appeal to the king and shift the blame on others is quite funny. Accused meaning charged with an offense or crime. The unstable behavior of the king also creates humor. The self defense of the architect is a masterpiece. He holds the king himself responsible for the disgrace as he had made certain amendments to his original plan. The king's anger and inability to act calmly create humor. The criteria for selection of the wisest men is quite ironic. It is assumed that wisdom comes with age. Being blind, he does not know that an ark cannot be hanged. Others have eyes, yet they follow his advice and take the ark to the gallows. Gallows is a structure typically of two uprights and a crosspiece for the hanging of criminals. How ironic it is. The king wants to keep the crowd in a good manner and orders that someone be hanged. Only the king is tall enough to fit the noose. What an irony! The king is hanged by his own order. The custom of naming the next king seems equally ridiculous. The idiot who passes by the city gate suggests Malon to be the next king. People who think only of their interest only do not bother whether king is a man or Melon. So let's discuss what are the instances that gives humor and irony in this chapter. So the decision of the king to hang the chief of the builders for constructing a low ark when his crown struck against it invokes a laughter among the readers. It is an example of humor. The way the king got convinced that actually the laborers who constructed the ark were responsible is also humorous. The king wanted to hang the laborers, but the laborers were able to defend themselves. This situation is humorous as it invokes laughter among the readers and ironic as the readers find that the laborers are able to shift the responsibility to the architect. Ironically, the architect is able to shift the responsibility to the king himself. The selection of the wisest man who would give the verdict as to who was the real culprit evokes laughter and is therefore humorous. The old man ultimately blamed the ark and declared that the ark must be hanged. Ironically, one of the ministers pointed out that the gathering wanted the person to be hanged. As the noose fitted the king's neck, so he was hanged. So these are the instances which creates humor and irony in this chapter. Now we are going to start with short answer type questions. Question number 1. Why does the king order an ark to be constructed over the public road? The answer is the cool-headed king got an ark gate constructed over the public road. He hoped to enlighten and uplift the onlookers morally. In this answer, the king ordered to build the ark triumphantly on the thoroughfare in order to edify the spectators so that he could impress and uplift the viewers intellectually. Here the word triumphantly meaning successfully and the words thoroughfare, edify and spectators are explained in the previous questions. He wanted to celebrate his victories and edify the spectators there. The cool-headed king got an ark constructed over the public road. Question number 2. What annoyed the king as he rode down that thoroughfare? Answer is, as he rode down the road, his crown struck against the low-built ark. It was thrown off and lost. This enraged the king. Enraged meaning anger. Explanation of this answer is, when the king passes through the thoroughfare to see that ark, his crown got struck with ark as the ark was below. His crown fell on the ground. Because of this, he feels that it was his disrespect or disgrace. Question number 3. This is a disgrace, said the king. How did he react? The answer is, the low-built ark hit against the king's crown, which fell to the ground and was lost. The king took it as an insult. He ordered the chief of builders to be hanged. In the answer for this question, we have to explain how king reacted when his crown fell on the ground. When he was gone to see the ark, his head got struck with ark, his crown fell down, and this made king feel disrespect, and he ordered the chief of builders to be hanged. Question number 4. The king in this poem is just and placid. Why does he then lose his temper? Does he carry his notion of justice too far? Answer. The king was known to be calm and cool headed, but that was a blatant lie. Blatant meaning clear or obvious lie. He lost his temper soon. Being just, he ordered the guilty person or thing to be hanged, but he was an utter fool. He carried his notion of justice too far. In doing so, he did invited his own hanging. His exaggerated sense of justice caused even his own death. He used to lose his temper even over a small incident. He was too good to be of any use. Number 5. How did the chief of builders, the workman, and the masons save their lives? The answer is the chief of builders passed on the blame to the workman. The workers, in the order to save their lives, blamed the brickmakers and the masons. The masons put the blame on the architect for the low arc. Everyone saved their life by putting on blames to one another. The chief builder said that it was not his fault that the ark had been made low. He said it was the fault of the workmen. The workmen said that the bricks had been made of wrong size. Thus it was the fault of masons and it was they who should be hanged. Masons put the blame on the architect and thus saved themselves from being hanged. Question number 6. How did the architect turn the tables on the king himself? The answer is the architect was presented before the king to face conviction, but he reminded the king of the changes made by the king himself in the building plan. The king became nervous. He said he would consult the wisest man in the state on the issue. In the answer, the architect said that the king himself had made some changes in the planning of the ark and thus it was not his fault that the ark was low. So by saying this, he saved himself. However, being a just and placid king, he said that it was an intricate matter and he needs someone's advice. Question number 7. Who on the old wise men's advice was led to the gallows? Why had the proceeding to be halted? The answer is all people were shifting their blames on the other one and finally it went to the king himself. To solve this problem, they had to sought an advice from someone wise because how could a king be hanged? So they decided to consult a wise man. The king and the council of ministers were of the opinion that a man who is old, experienced, and thus wise. The old wise man advised on his understanding that the ark was responsible for his crown's falling, so it is the one who should be hanged. He advised the king to hang the ark itself, which had thrown the crown off the king's head. Question number 8. What does the selection process of the new ruler of the state reveal about the ministers and the people? The answer is the selection process seems quite ridiculous. The ministers can do anything in the name of tradition, which is shown by their foolish act of accepting Melon as their king. The people were also ignorant about their king and just wanted to live their life their own way. Question number 9. How did the people and ministers react to the selection of a Melon as the new ruler? The answer is they are more worried about their own peace, freedom, and business affairs than the ruler. This shows how selfish, self centered, and egocentric they are. They were really happy about it as they can enjoy their freedom now and now do not have to follow someone's orders or decrees. The word decrees meaning an official order that has to be followed. Question number 10. Why did the king write down the thoroughfare and what was the result? The answer is the king ordered to construct a thoroughfare and after its completion he rode down through the newly constructed ark, but as the ark was built too low he got his head stuck into it and lost his crown under it. He felt that to be derogatory as it hurt his ego, and the whole scenario which happened later where the king was hanged was the result of that incident only. Question number 11. What sort of king ruled over the state? What did he proclaim? So the answer is the king who ruled over the state was just and placid. The just and placid meaning was fair, gentle, and justice loving king. He seemed to be interested in the welfare of the masses. So he proclaimed that an ark should be constructed over the major thoroughfare in the city in order to benefit the spectators. He hoped that it will increase his popularity among the people and he will be seen a king concerned with the welfare of the kingdom. Question number 12. Who was held responsible for the disgrace? How did they react to it? What do you learn about the king? The answer is the chief of builders held responsible for the disgrace when the king's crown fell under the low ark and ordered to be hanged. He reacted angrily and ordered the offender to be hanged at the gallows. But the workmen looked surprised, but they blamed the wrong size of bricks for it. This shows the king's fickle mindedness. Fickle mindedness meaning the person who is not able to concentrate on one thing. Shows that the king had an ego and he was stubborn and short tempered, which made his way to his own hanging. 13. What argument did the architect advance in self defense? How did the king take it? The architect reminded the king that he had made certain amendments to the original plans of the architect. He suggested that it was the fault of the king himself. On hearing it, the king became so angry that he nearly lost his ability to act sensibly or calmly. Question number 14. Why did the king need some counsel and from whom? Do you think the man was really the wisest one? Give a reason for your answer. The answer is the king got confused by the architect's clever self defense, so he needed the advice of the wisest man in the country. The man selected was so old that he could neither walk nor see and was trembling. He was not really the wisest one, as wisdom does not necessarily come with age. His advice proved his worthless, which leads to king's hanging. The explanation for this answer is the king needed a counsel from the wisest man in the country. Explanation for this answer is the king needed a counsel from the wisest man in the country. He needed a counsel when the architect blamed the king himself for having forgotten that he had made changes in the plans. This made him very angry. The wise man was not really the wisest one as he could not choose the right culprit. 15. Comment upon the criteria of selection of the wisest man and the quality of counsel he offered. The answer is the criteria was that wisdom comes with grey hair. The old man they selected could not walk or see. He spoke in a trembling voice, trembling meaning shaking. The advice he offered was absurd. A lifeless object cannot be deprived of life by hanging it. Explanation for this answer is the wisest man, according to the king's courtiers, was carried to the court. He could neither walk nor see. He was very old and hence was selected. The counsel he offered was that since the ark had banged the king's crown off, so the ark should be hanged. This was a ridiculous and absurd suggestion. Question number 16. What does the comment of the counselor about the ark reveal about himself and the king? The answer is it shows the counselor's sycophancy. Sycophancy means behavior in which somebody praises important or powerful people in a way that is not sincere, especially in order to get something from them. And the king capriciousness meaning someone or something that is subject to sudden, unpredictable changes. The counselor, an expert in art of flattery, checked the king from an absurd action through an argument that appeared logical. The thoughtless king mused, meaning to think carefully about something for a time over it. Explanation is as soon as the ark was led to the gallows for hanging, the counselor commented on how they could hang so shamefully the ark that touched his hand. The comment reveals that he was a clever man and very cunningly persuaded the king to change his mind. The king, being fickle minded himself, meaning someone who is unable to take right decision or one decision, argued to postpone the consideration of finer points like guilt. Question number 17. Why did the king succumb to public demand? Succumb meaning to stop fighting against something. Answer is the king noticed that the crowd of spectators had become restless and people were muttering aloud. He judged their mood He trembled, meaning to shake out of fear, to think of the consequences if they were deprived of the fun of watching someone being hanged. So, in order to have his skin, he ordered that someone be hanged immediately. Explanation to this answer is the king gave in to public demand because the crowd by now had become restless and was muttering. Muttering meaning to speak in low voice, and grumbling meaning to complain in a bad tempered way, loudly. He was a foolish king and gullible too. His motive was to move on quickly with the hanging to satisfy his public. Question number 18. What was the result of king's thoughtless order? The answer is the thoughtless order given by the king was that the tallest man who would fit into the noose would be hanged. So the noose was set up somewhat high. Each man was measured one by one. Only one man was found tall enough to fit the noose. The result was that the king himself was hanged by royal decree as he was tallest man around. Number 19. Why did the ministers feel relieved? Do you think that their elation was justified? Elation meaning a feeling or state of great joy or pride. The answer: the ministers felt relieved that the public's eagerness to watch a hanging had been satisfied. They expressed their pleasure by saying that they found someone for hanging. They believed that if they had failed to do so, the unruly town might have turned against the king. Their elation is misplaced. The king had to lose his life to keep the public in good humor. Explanation is the ministers felt relieved because if they had not found someone, the unruly town, meaning uncontrolled town, people might have turned against the crown. The elation was more ironical because now the town was actually without a crown as the king was hanged due to his own foolishness. Question number 20. What opinion do you form of the king's ministers on the basis of their actions after the king's death? The answer is the ministers have the sigh of relief. At last, someone was found to be hanged. No matter that person was their king, had the king not offered himself for hanging immediately, the people would have revolted against him. So the king saved him from the dishonor or disgrace. They shouted, "Long live in the last." Number 21. What custom of the citizens is referred in the tale? How did the ministers decide to observe it? The answer is it is their custom to choose the new ruler of their state. Whoever passed the city gate first of all next day would choose the ruler of the state. This method of random choice excluded dynastic rule as well as conspiracies. The minister decide to observe it with proper formality. Question number 22. How was the new ruler of the state selected? The ministers sent out messengers to declare that the next man to pass the city gate would choose the ruler of their state. An idiot happened to pass the gate. When asked to decide who was to be the king, he replied, "A melon." This was a standard answer to all questions. The minister declared that a melon would be their new ruler. We are going to start with long answer type questions. Question number 1. The king was just and placid. How did he carry his notion of justice a bit too far? The answer is the king was known for being fair and justice loving, but he was in fact a fool because he failed to judge situation and act accordingly. He should act mindly not only by the principles he carried his sense of justice a little too far. Here he foolishly thought that the victory gate would improve the people of his kingdom. He lost his temper when his crown fell from his head while passing through the gate and hastily meaning without giving a second thought, at once ordered hanging for the builder, the workers, the masons, and the architect based on the earlier person's saying, and he himself couldn't decide on it. Even he agreed to hang the ark itself, which is impossible as it is a material thing which has no sense of its own. He finally ordered his own hanging on the advice of the council in the love of justice, which was not necessity as there was no victim except the king's ego. and justice is not to satisfy someone's ego. Question number 2. How does a Melon become the ruler of the state? Why are the people happy with him? The answer is the king, who never applied his own brain, went by what others said. When the people demanded somebody to be hanged, the king had to pay a heavy price for his foolishness, as unfortunately his head got fit into the noose. According to the state custom, the new ruler was to be chosen by the first person who passed by the city gates. That day, an idiot passed by the gates who had melon to every question asked to him, and the ministers followed the custom mindlessly. They brought a melon and crowned it as their new ruler on the advice of an idiot. The people raised no objection, they only wanted to live in peace and liberty. They accepted the Melon king, who followed the policy of non interference in whatever the people did. They got fully liberty to live their life, and now they do not have a foolish person as their king by whom orders one can lose his life for nothing. Question number 3. How did the accused try to shift the blame on others? How far did they succeed? Answer is the chief of builders was the first one to be accused of being guilty. He shifted the blame to the workman. The workmen were surprised but did not lose their reasoning power and applied their mind wisely. They told the king he had forgotten the fact that bricks were made of the wrong size. On their rational, meaning logical argument, the masons, brickmakers, were summoned. They trembled with fear but shifted the blame on the architect who was responsible for planning and erecting meaning building, the ark. The king ordered the architect to be hanged. The clever architect reminded the king that he had forgotten one small thing. He had made certain amendments to plans when the former had shown them to the king. This clearly meant that he held the king responsible for the ark's failure. The king became very angry and lost his capacity of clear judgment. He was at sixes and sevens, means confused, and sought the advice of man who he thought to be wisest. Thus, here we see each accused succeeded in shifting the blame on others and saved themselves from being hanged. Question number 4. What impression do we gather about the king from the tale of Melon City? Here we have to describe the king's nature and psychology. The answer is the just and placid king was justice loving and appears quite restless as he decides to have all the workmen hanged instead of the chief of builders after the chief of builders passed on the blame on them by playing trick. He was a man of his words and could go to any extent for it. He is easily tricked by smart people who were accused of being guilty. He seems to be eager about public welfare and gets an ark constructed across the thoroughfare for them. King was easily outwitted by the clever architect. The king loses his head in a fit of anger. In remain on his statement, he seeks the advice of the wisest man in the country. The king wants to keep the public in a good humor. He is quite observant and judges the mood of the masses correctly. His lack of foresight proved fatal for himself. The height of the noose fits only his neck. He foolishly became the victim of his own order. He wanted to prevent a public revolt but has to pay for it. Thus, he is a short sighted person with little sense. Question number 5. What do you think makes the tale of Melon City interesting and edifying? The answer is, as the title indicates, the poem tells a story about a city named after its ruler who was actually a melon. How can Melon be a king? It is quite interesting to learn how the country got a melon as its ruler. In short, it was on account of customs followed there. The people relate the story of a just and placid king who was hanged by his own royal decree, what the king did for the people, and how he held the trails of the accused. Both are quite amusing. The clever arguments of the accused to save their lives are equally interesting. The king feels the pulse of people who want to see hanging. He knows how mischievous an angry mob can be and hence orders that someone must be hanged immediately. The irony of the situation is that only the king is tall enough to fit the noose. The practical minded ministers resort to the age old custom to choose the next ruler. The idiot's choice is approved of in the name of custom, who first pass the gate and name Melon as the next king. The people are indifferent to the fact that their ruler is a Melon, not a man. The behavior of ministers was equally selfish, foolish, and mean. People seems quite funny and interesting. Here we can say that a wise man should avoid the company of fools. Question number 6. The poem mocks the process of fair trial and proper judgment. How far do you agree with the statement? The answer is the poem shows the age old custom of delivering justice by word of the mouth of kings. There was a time when the king's word was considered divine and whatever he uttered was law. A just and placid king was expected to protect the innocent and punish the guilty. Here, the meaning of just and placid was explained in the previous questions. However, the process of trial and the ever changing judgments make up one of the whole process of fair trials. This is evident from the statements of the accused who try to save their lives by holding others responsible. The king's inability to see through the thin veil of their arguments make him an object of ridicule rather than a dispenser of divine justice. In the third last line, the word wheel meaning here a thing that serves to cover. In this answer, here it means that the arguments that people make enable the king to think properly, and the ridicule meaning here subject to dismissive language. Question number 7. Comment on the ending of the poem The Tale of Melon City. What bearing does the ending have on the title of the poem? The answer is the ending of the Tale of Melon City is quite significant. The ending of the poem reveals that the incidents took place long ago. It throws light on the old customs of the state to choose their new ruler. Being dilemma after the king's hanging, the ministers took an easy way out of the problem. They decided the person who passes the city gate first was to name the next king. That day, an idiot who used to answer Melon to every question came. They happily accepted the idiot's suggestion, so the Melon was crowned their new king, carried to the throne, and respectively sat down there. The people are not at all ashamed to have a Melon as their king. They say that if the king rejoices in being a Melon, that's all right with them. They find no fault with him as long as he leaves them to enjoy their peace, freedom, and free trade. The capital city is called Melon City after the king. Thus, the ending throws light on the selfish nature of the people and their belief in old customs. Now, value based questions is question number 1. How, according to you, can peace and liberty be maintained in a state? As it is a value based question, we have to answer it according to out here. We can answer this according to our own understanding about peace and liberty. We can take up some points out of this. Answer is peace and liberty can be ensured in many ways in a state. Different people suggest different means of maintaining peace and liberty in a state. Some are in favor of democracy, but it is not that only democracy can maintain peace. Even we have seen many different types of governments are also successful in maintaining peace and liberty. I think the best way is good governance. Whatever is well administrated is most fruitful for the citizens as well as the rulers. It ensures peace and liberty to the common man. A strong state is on which is safe from external threat meaning defense. Dedicated rulers, enlightened citizens, and proper law enforcing agencies can establish peace and harmony in the state. Narrow considerations based on region, religion, caste, etc. should be discouraged because these can be potential threat to internal security as they create differences and hatred among the people. Free expression of opinions must be allowed, but respect for law and order should be observed at the same time. Society should be made aware of both their rights as well as duties and responsibilities. Rights must be legally enforceable and duties should be legally binding so that a social order can be maintained within the public. Punishment can also be given in case of not fulfilling one's duties, or this is the only way to maintain peace and liberty.
Thank you.